Oh yeah, huh? Well, I've screwed it on a few times, but yeah, I took it off the lathe, I did it by the numbers, and that came out just perfect. It was perfect on there. And there's a very close fit right in here where the turn is. That's why I had to put a radius on there so they cleared. And you just got to have it in the right spot so the little screws don't hit. That'll work, and we have just perfect clearance to get to our set screws, our adjustments. Just right there. It came out really good. Stick our tube in. Screw it into the collet. Okay, we're running about 20 thousandths. I'm going to play the old tighten the high spot. Alright, that's within one. Now, I can't have them tight because this tube has to slide. So I can't have it perfectly tight. So we got to have them just a little bit loose. So there's some slide, so we can slide that. We'll put the collet assembly back together and give her a try. We got a couple thousandths there. We'll see how we did on run out. Okay, that won't engage. Huh. Now I didn't check these, but these aren't exactly 180 degree apart. They are. I can even see the offset. Huh. I made my slots 180 degrees apart. Yep, it is just a skosh off. Somebody must have worked on them and filed them. And yep. Well, we'll have adjust that. No, it just matters a little bit where we're at, it looks like there. Okay, that's okay. There's like not very much play though. Anyway, that's in now. I'm not going to put the guard on, just because we're just kind of testing things out here. Now we're going to run it and see how it goes. Well, all I can say is it's a little bit better, but not a lot. So if because I still have to play here, about 5 thousandths. That's pretty good. Not engaged at about 5 or 6 thousandths. Engage it. Well, that's a big improvement, and we're looking at about 6 thousandths. And this ring is hitting this, so that's not good. That ring is kind of sketchy. It's like too big, or it's just the wrong shape, and the screw's got to be all the way in. One of those things. It's kind of I don't know if that was the original one or not. It's kind of, all this looks shop made, and not a very good job at it either. See, now it doesn't hit, and I'm getting about 2 or 3 thousandths there. So if I can make up a different kind of nut that will go on there and I can lock it, that'd be far better. The collet's tight. And the collet releases. And oh, it's tight. So well, I think that's a vast improvement. I can actually use that. I think if I make a different style nut that I can lock on differently, and it won't hit this ring here, this nut. This would be far greater improvement, and I won't have to make a new tube yet. I have the material, so if I have to, I will. But It's a huge improvement. And I can open and close it. Sometimes it's 5,000, sometimes it's 3. Yeah. Anyway, it's still a huge improvement. Well, I'm going to make a new nut now.
Ammunition, loaded with quality components, and inspected and made in the U.S. Offering 481 loads in 82 calibers. Find your next shot at DoubleTapAmmo.net. DoubleTapAmmo.net.
We got our piece in here. We're going to cut a 50 thousandths or about 55 thousandths wide groove in. We're going to go halfway, which is 900 thousandths deep. We're going to touch off, and then we'll zero and go in 900. So we cut across here halfway. We're all good with our clearances from the boss on the bottom side and everything going across. Here's the blade I use. 3 3/8 in diameter. Let's see here. The Rockwell, 3 3/8 in diameter, 24 tooth. It's carbide tip, 55 thousandths wide, and I've used this on quite a few projects actually. So it's for let's see, it's an RW9231 wood, fast cutting carbide tipped, max RPM 7,000. We're set up halfway over on this. Is about 250 thousandths, quarter of an inch thick, and we discounted the thread depth, so we're halfway between the root of the thread and the outside. I stuck a couple of thickness gauges here. I just use, these are real old sets, so I just use them as shims most of the time. So we're just going to really tap the top part. We'll tap part of the bottom part, but we're really aiming just to tap this part here, and then the rest will be drilled a clearance hole from the other side. We've got flipped over, put the drill back in, and use the drill to line up the hole. And we're going to go 11/32 for a clearance drill. So here's the finished end nut on our pinch point. Came out good actually, other than I was a little tight on the V-blocks in the vise, and I got some little marks around, but minor. So the 832 screw will go in here, screws in there, and pinches this together. So we'll just add that on there real nice, and then we'll be able to we'll just adjust it to where it needs to be, give that a little tweak. That, and nice and tight, and it won't be marring up the threads like the other thing was doing. Real happy with this. And you pull this out, and that's just about the spot it really needs to be, looks like. And hopefully the angle here now will be not so bad and it won't hit. So let's put our adjustable nut that just screws on the end of the spindle here. And the spindle, that adjusts also how much play is longitudinal play in the, or axial play in the spindle. And then that will go by there. There, that's adjusted. Good tension on a piece of 3/8 stock. Collet's tight, and our two sliding dogs end up right in this outside rim, over the hump, you might say. So it cams over and locks. So our end spacer, our end nut is in good position, and it does not look like it's going to be rubbing. The only thing is I did have to loosen these a little bit to get so it would slide easily. I'm going to have to change. I think what I'm going to do is going to grind these little set screws smooth, because it needs to be a sliding fit in there. It can't be tight, otherwise the collet won't open. So it's good right now. I'm going to turn it on and see how it goes. Oh, look at that. And I didn't put a dial indicator on it or anything. There's absolutely, basically zero wobble to that, or run out. You can open and close it. I got a little bit there. But, you know, that is nothing compared to how it was. I would say that is actually working extremely well for this lathe. I'm going to call that done. Very successful repair. You know, you see run out here in the end. But for now, that's going to be good. I'm not going to build a new tube yet. Of course, if I put a dial indicator on and adjust those screws a little better, I'll get it a little better. But that's very usable. Very usable. Thanks you guys for watching. More projects to come. Please subscribe. And we'll be picking up the pace on projects and stuff in the shop. We've got a bunch of repairs I want to do.